In this episode, we are joined by Hunyuan Qi therapist Petra Segger, discussing rapid healing results and the body's natural ability to release blockages. By focusing on the energetic level rather than traditional psychological or medical interventions, she demonstrates the power of focused intention and visualization. My name is Torsten Lüdecke, and this is the Wisdom Qigong Podcast. Hello everyone and welcome to the Wisdom Qigong Podcast. Today my guest is Petra Segger. Petra is from Germany and she is a health and well-being coach focusing on the techniques used at the Medicineless Hospital. This is why she became a Hunyuan Qi therapist. Today we're going to talk a little bit about her experiences and hear how she uses the techniques of the Medicineless Hospital, the Huaxia Center. Petra, welcome to the show. And maybe you would like to tell us a little bit about the work you do and how you do it, and then share some of the cases you've worked with, please.
Yeah, hello, Torsten. Hello, everyone. So thank you for having me here. It's really a pleasure. And I'm happy to talk a little bit about my work. So I am, as you just said, so I am Hunyuan Qi therapist, and in my work, I'm using a lot the Hunyuan Qi therapy, and also I have experiences with very fast healing. So and this is very amazing, and always to see really the emotions of the people when they open the eyes and think, "Oh gosh, what just happened?" is really great to see. So. Yeah, I had, for example, there was an elderly man who was, when you see him, looks a little bit grumpy and not really so happy. And and he came to me and wanted to release blockages on the emotional part and some other things. And I'm working like that when I do Hunyuan Qi therapy alone, so not in a group, then I'm really listening, of course, to what the client has. And then when I connect to the person in that moment, when I see or mostly I feel what the person has. So I know some people can see what someone has, and I feel it more in the same area. So, and then I decide when I'm already in the Qi field, what I will do at the end. So, and in this case, for example, I have a feeling that I need to first to really clean the body from all rubbish. So there all the tons of old stuff, what's in there, and so I went first in the cleaning, so from head to toe, and later on the man said this was really feeling already, or feeling also for him as if some whole cleaning crew is going through his body and everything goes out through the feet. And then when I finished one part, I also did then some techniques what we are using with Hunyuan, what was also in combination. And then I also went to his head, and I really was thinking, okay, I was imagining, so really visualizing that all the blockages there really go out of the head. And later on, he described it as if there was a water castle, and as if the bridges were from outside to inside have been rebuilt. So he said something like talk, something like really something rebuilding in his mind. Yeah.
So it's a bit like things falling back into places where they belong. Is that what you mean with that?
and also really this when you are for example, imagine you work for 30 years just in a gray environment, so 8 days a day. So and then kind of your mind goes stuck somehow, and so this was really relieved and yeah, put back and into place. This might be like that.
I'd like to mention a few points here that you mentioned that I think is important. Now, one is that you seem to be working on the information level initially. So already the conversation you have with the client means you picking up information, and then later on you're transforming this information. I think this is kind of what you also do when you go through the body. The second thing that I noticed when you said, the healing happens very fast. And I think this is something that for a lot of us, we sometimes forget, because if I hear the stories from the medicineless hospital and from Dr. Pang giving lectures, things would disappear in an instant. So, for example, if there was a tumor or something like that, he would give the lecture, and at the end of the lecture, the tumor would have been gone. So it's not always about the diligent practice over years. We can have success and a change immediately. And I think we should be open to that when we give these treatments or when we work with Zhineng Qigong in general. And then there's another point. So you mentioned so many points because when you said it's like a cleaning going through the body and he's letting go, he's releasing. I mean, release is an essential part of everything in Zhineng Qigong. It is about absorbing. So we're absorbing the Qi of nature, but we're also letting go of what we don't need anymore, which you call the rubbish. So I think this makes a lot of sense to me that first of all, when you go through the healing process, a very fundamental step is to let go of everything that is blocking your Qi flow, everything that you don't need anymore, any baggage you've got from the past. So I just wanted to mention all these points because they came up while you were describing what you were doing with this gentleman. So, but please continue.
Yeah, for example, I recently met a really beautiful woman in her mid-40s, and she was really pouring her heart out to me what happened. And she told me that since even 7 years, she was not happy anymore. She was also feeling alone. She was so not going out anymore with friends because 7 years ago something happened what really was kind of a shock for her. And since that time, her life really changed, and she really, as I said, she wasn't happy anymore. And this Hunyuan Qi therapy experience was very extreme to me. There was during the therapy very strong emotional reaction with crying and also bodily reactions. And but maybe I am telling you what happened. So I connected to her, and I also always say, not only to her, always, that this is she is a person should really imagine herself in the very happy or in the perfect surroundings, so that you really see yourself in the perfect picture. So we started, I connected, I built a Qi field, and then I first went to her head, and in that moment I was also again kind of trying to clean the brain. She was sitting on a chair, and the upper body went like this, so she got backwards kind of, and she started also crying. And so then I did this. I was thinking, oh wow, already. So it was very strong. And then the second part, I was just going through the body, and then I went to Hunyuan Palace and pulled out everything from Hunyuan Palace. And in this moment, I started her body, her upper body went boop, like this to the front. So and she was kind of shivering, and I was thinking, shall I go on or not? So and then I went on because I think this it was just my feeling that it really it's okay to let it go, to really it's going out. And then I was pulling again the chi field, like, and was imagining like silk over her, so very soft chi field, cooling down. She was cooling down. I hold the chi field, and then she was totally wet, and but she opened the eyes, and she said already, wow, this was fantastic. And since later she told me, since that day she was happy again. And
I think this is amazing, and it's a great way of showing how we work in Hun therapy. Because when you started your story about this woman where something that happened 7 years ago, and since then she wasn't happy anymore, our initial reaction would be, well, maybe she should talk to a psychologist so that they go through the story, they work through it, etc. But that's not what we do usually. I mean, we work on the energy level. So all she did, she basically closed her eyes, if I understand you correctly.
yes,
And
right.
you work with the energy, and you work with the energy. And she went through all these physical reactions, which was a way of her releasing, letting go of this story, letting go of this burden, and connecting back with who she really is, and connecting with her joy and her, and her love for life. So I love that you share this, because it really shows the emphasis of this work. It's energy work, and not so much like a therapist, like a psychotherapist or a psychologist would work through conversations. Yes, you do have conversations initially because you want to get to know your client, and you want to establish a certain level of trust and of empathy with each other, but then it's energy work that you do, and I think this illustrated this very well. Do you want to add? Do you want to add to this story by any chance?
Oh, we also met 2 times after this work. So this was actually, everything was okay for her since that time. So, and I have not heard back anything that she had to fall back to the past, but no. So she's okay. She's good.
Now you mentioned earlier that sometimes it's very fast, and I know that you also have experiences outside your practice. So this is a profession that you have. So you're obviously working with people that come to you, but sometimes life happens, and when we are out on the streets, we are involved or we witness incidences. And I know you had 1 or 2 incidences recently, maybe that you would like to share, where you used Hunyuan Qi therapy without the other person even knowing about it.
Yes. So this was really first one was in Düsseldorf main station. So I was on a train trip to Amsterdam, and so I was on the station in Düsseldorf. And when I arrived with my local train, went down the stairs, I saw already that something was not okay on the stairs. And there is you have stairs, then you have a plateau in Düsseldorf, and then you have again stairs. And someone fell down there. So, and people were already around that person. And so I could see first this guy stood up, but I could see he was bleeding. And then the legs collapsed, and then he was lying down. Okay, then people were already around. And I immediately have sent Hunyuan Qi, so everything is perfect, everything is all right. And then with the people surrounding the guy, so then I wasn't sure if someone called the ambulance already. And so I was calling the ambulance, and this guy told me, okay, go down. It's that we see you at the right stair. When we come, that I can direct them. So I went down. The other people were around this guy, and the whole time I was just in my mind, I was sending chi to him, and everything should be okay. And then I got to know from another person, just a second before the ambulance arrived, that he at least he woke up again. So, and I quickly, because I also had to go to my train to Amsterdam, I quickly went up again, and he was really there, and he didn't know what I was doing, but we had for a short moment eye contact, and it really felt like kind of saying thank you. And this was really also was a little bit weird. So to have this situation, so because this was also the very first time for me.
My name is Torsten Lüdecke, and I have news for you. You can now access our podcasts in a very different way. If you would like to go back to any of the episodes and you just remember a certain topic or you have a certain question, please use our new bot and ask that question. Not only will you get an answer based on all the episodes we have produced before, you will also be able to directly access the very episode at exactly the point your topic and your question was mentioned. Please use this bot and make sure you don't miss out on this wonderful new feature of our podcast. So basically, he must have known somewhere deep inside that there was a connection between you and him, that you have been doing this work with him. And this is why he probably recognized you among all these people when he looked into your eyes. And without consciously knowing why that was, but yeah, there was the part of him that knew about it, and thank you. So, and I'm glad he was doing so much better within that
And then
period
the
of time.
ambulance arrived. I had to go to my train, so I don't know what's going on. Yeah, and this was really a really strange coincidence. And then I was on my back tour from Amsterdam to Düsseldorf, and maybe if you know the Amsterdam station, there are some where you put your ticket in. I don't know. So, and before you come to this little ticket machine, I think there were three steps down, and there was a woman with some luggage, and she was falling down kind of the 3 steps, and she felt like this and with her head against this machine. So, and there also were immediately people around. I was on the other side already, and I was just also standing in the background and just sending qi to her. And she was also but only for a short moment. This, I don't know, this might also have been coincidence. I have no idea. After a couple of minutes, she stood up again. She was a little bit unsafe on the legs, but she stood up, and then I also had to leave. So
we never know. We never know whether it's coincidence or whether it's the result of our work. But I just want to encourage everyone. I mean, we are often, thank God, we are not so often involved or witness of an accident like this. But what we are all involved in quite frequently is, say you're in a restaurant or a public place and you see people arguing with each other in a bad energy or fighting with each other and so on and so on. And this is a great opportunity for us to practice this. So there we can send qi, loving qi, qi of harmony, qi of understanding, and just see what happens. And I find this quite fascinating, because then very often, if it's a couple or whatever, they calm down. And a few minutes later, they are back into a normal conversation. I'm traveling a lot, so often when I'm sitting on the plane and I have a baby crying because obviously they feel very uncomfortable on the plane with the air pressure and so on, and there's a lot of noise and nobody can sleep. So I just send loving energy and calming energy to the baby. And then after a few minutes, it's going to be quiet and everybody can have a rest. So these are little experiments. Again, I can't prove, and nobody knows whether it's because of my Hunyuan Qi or whether the baby was just totally tired. But I think, just by doing it, and you will notice that more often than not, you will have an effect or something will shift. So this is a nice little experiment all of us can do. And at the same time, contributing to our community, to our environment, and to the people in our lives.
yeah.
So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, so and the next one, which was definitely from what I was doing. So there is an upcoming new friendship, and I was I had an appointment with one woman, and I picked her up at her home, and she said to me, "Oh, I have since 3 days, I have back pain, and the painkillers are not helping." So, and I said, "Okay, so let's, before we leave, lay down on your couch," or what she had there. And I said, we will try something. So, and she laid down, and I said, "Just relax and imagine the back pain is already gone. Is already gone." And so I just made my Hunyuan Qi work for 5, not even not 10 minutes, and said, "Okay, done." And then she opened the eyes, she looked at me, said, "Whoa, it's gone." It was gone. Her pain was gone. So, and also again, she also said she had the feeling as if I have pulled the pain out of her. So, and this was also definitely from my work. Yeah.
Now, this seems to be a recurring pattern in your work, that you seem to be focusing a lot on getting out of the body whatever is in the way of being completely healthy and well, right? It seems to be a focus of what you're doing. Can you tell us a little more about that and why
So
you?
I'm not doing this by purpose. It just happens. So also, for example, for myself, when I'm playing with I'm just very often I'm playing with the Qi. I just need to do like this, and I'm just I'm not following this amazing feeling anymore. I'm just observing where the Qi goes and what happens. So it's not by purpose. I also do Qi Chong Zu, Qi Chong Tang and so on, and for San and Mela, and but yeah, this is what has happened in this cases. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, right. But it might be because of people who know what I'm doing. I always say I don't like this to say. They say you have healing hands. It just it's well, it's not me. I'm giving you the impulse for healing, but you heal by yourself.
Right.
So, and this is all about self healing, and you give the right trigger.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's
Okay.
and yeah, there was another happening. This was even last week. So I was in Düsseldorf. There was a networking event outside, beautiful weather in Düsseldorf at the Bräuninger, and on the backside of the Bräuninger in Düsseldorf, very beautiful, with a little water area and a park also. And so there were, I think, more than 100 women outside, and we had a good time. And then I saw one woman sitting in a corner. She had her eyes closed. She was kind of breathing strongly and had her hand on the left side. And I was going to her and asked her, "Hey, what's going on?" She said, "Oh, it feels like he has a heart attack." And I was thinking, "Oh gosh." So what you do? And I was thinking, okay, give it a try very fast. So I said, "Relax, imagine everything is okay, even if it's difficult." And I was connecting, and I was imagining that I widen the heart and make it bigger, and everything flows perfectly. Everything is pumping perfectly. Everything is very soft, open, 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 open. Not 5 minutes. And she opened the eyes. She even had a little bit tears in the eyes, kind of being surprised, being not believing it, being grateful, and she said, "It's gone."
Yeah.
So this works. And I was thinking, okay, right choice was my intention. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Also, it's a great example of how you use your intention and visualization to imagine, I mean, with full power of your intention, the other person to be healthy. Because this is a moment where it's not about doubts, where it's really about going completely and fully into the imagination of her being healthy. Because if it was something serious, then you don't want to, you don't want to be half-hearted here. You want to go in fully with the energy, with the information that everything is normal again and is acting healthy. And I don't want to let you go before mentioning that you are also working a lot with omega-3, which is an oil. I think most of our listeners will know that. And I think you compared earlier how the omega-3 works in the body and how you're working as a therapist. So this could be an interesting thought to add to this podcast. So maybe you can explain what you meant by that.
So yeah, as maybe some people who know about Hunyuan Qi therapy and Zhineng Qigong, Master Liu always says we are working on membrane level. So which is 100% right and true. And but I often have people in my praxis which are they say, oh, I don't have the time to make 1-2 hours qigong every day and blah blah blah. So and there is I'm also working a lot with as you said with omega-3 oil, which is also working on membrane level. So and I also explained this what I'm doing to Master Liu, and he said, oh, that's good, that's good to combine. And so I had one client who is who's using the omega-3. So it's, and by the way, it's not in capsules. Capsules are not good because you have to imagine we are talking about fish. And when you have a fresh fish, what are you doing? You're putting the fish in the fridge, and also in the shop it's under cooling and so on. And in this capsule, this is nowhere cooled. So you take rancid oil if you take capsules. So I'm only recommending it in bottles. So that just as a side remark. So and this lady, she takes omega-3, and she had various things. She had panic attacks. She had fear attacks. She had migraine. She had polyarthritis in the hands, and she was standing right before an operation for removing gallstones. So, and I said, okay, she only told me this, just to be correct, not at the very beginning when we met, just only a couple of months later. So, but she took the oil, and after these 5 months, her migraine was gone. Her panic attacks were gone. The fear attacks were gone. She was very happy about this because she said this strong heart pumping, yeah, she was very afraid when she had this. So this was okay so far, but the polyarthritis in the hands was not completely gone, and with the gallstones only then she told me. So I said, okay, let's do a Hunyuan Qi therapy for that. So I did it, and immediately after the Hunyuan Qi therapy, the polyarthritis pain in the hands was completely gone. To my knowledge, now she was on holiday with her husband, and it did not come back. And the next appointment for the doctor, because here in Germany, often it's like that, it takes time until you get the next doctor appointment because everywhere is fully booked. So, and which was 2 weeks ago, and then she told me her what's the English word? Gallstones. There were just one was remaining, and this was smaller than 1 centimeter. So as we didn't do anything else, or she didn't change anything else, this with her hands is also in combination with the omega-3 because it reduces the inflammation in the body. So the inflammation in this little ankles. But the gallstones, this I cannot imagine that this was from the oil. I guess this really must have been from the Hunyuan Qi therapy.
Right.
So she has now really a different life. A different life, because imagine from panic attacks and fear attacks, migraine, minimum once a month, and so on, now to reliving all this. This is really fantastic. I love this work.
And I just thought I'll mention that because it's quite interesting when it comes to supplements, nutritional supplements. There are all kinds of opinions whether they are useful or not useful. But I know that omega-3 is one of the few where basically everybody agrees it's a very useful supplement. And it's interesting I mentioned that because, as you said, omega-3 is working on the membrane level, next to the anti-inflammation effects it has. And that we are working Hunyuan Qi therapy also with the membrane level. So that is a nice and interesting parallel here, which I'm not a nutritionist, so I don't quote me on that. But I think it would make perfect sense that one is reinforcing the other and vice versa. So that's why I thought it would be interesting to hear from you about that.
Yeah.
All right. Petra, I know you have a successful practice close to Düsseldorf. It's in a beautiful, is it like a castle or something?
Yeah, it's in the castle. So in the castle of Garat, which is in the south of Düsseldorf. Many people know the castle in Benrath. And there is another one, it's smaller, but it's also very beautiful. It's in Garat. So in the most south area of Düsseldorf, yeah.
But those of us who don't live close to Düsseldorf, but are listening in from India or from Mexico, are you also available over Zoom for your consultations?
Yes, of course. Yes.
Okay, good.
Time and space does not matter. So
that's correct. We will obviously put all your details in the show notes, so anybody who's interested to hear more or learn more or work with you or learn from you, please feel free to get in touch with Petra. And I thank you very much today for your time and for sharing all these experiences with us, because I think it's always very good, very useful for us to hear real case stories, case studies, because it reinforces our own belief and our own work, and just keeps us going. If we hear how successful it is actually used in daily practice. So thank you very much, Petra, and I look forward to see you soon somewhere in any of the trainings.
Yes, Paula, thank you so much and have a great day. Paula.
We trust you enjoyed this conversation, and we invite you to subscribe to our podcast so we can stay in touch and notify you of future episodes. We will end today's episode with the 8 verses meditation performed by Zhineng Qigong teacher Katrin Hendricks. Enjoy. To get your free ebook on the 8 verses meditation, please check the show notes below.